Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and I love to do videos on luxury handbags, shoes, ready to wear, and some styling videos. And I do those things from the perspective of somebody who is in the middle of her life, as well as someone who is mid-sized. So if that sounds interesting, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know every time I upload a video. So today's video is my very first Q&A. So I have been on YouTube now for a little over 6 months, and right at about the 6-month time, so a couple weeks ago, I put a sticker on my IG stories and on my community tab in YouTube to see if you all had any questions for me. So, I've been doing this for a little while. I thought 6 months is probably a good time to maybe answer some of your questions if you have any. So I have them printed out here. I have some from Instagram. I have some, like I said, from YouTube, and maybe I'll kind of switch back and forth. I did take just sort of a quick peek at the questions to see if I needed any like props to go. That's the theater background in me. See if I needed any props, any eye candy for this. And so I have a couple things next to me, but I haven't really thought about any of these questions or responses. So yeah, let's just get into it. Abigail R asks, give us a little story around your first luxury purchase. How did you decide on the item/brand, and did you buy in boutique? So my very first luxury item that I purchased is actually right here. So this is a Louis Vuitton wallet. I will show it to you. And I think most people probably choose Louis Vuitton as their first luxury item, if I had to guess. It'd be interesting to put a poll out there and see what everybody's first luxury purchase is. But I tend to think that a good majority of us buy from Louis Vuitton. So I remember going in, if you want to, it asks for a little story. So this was in Las Vegas because, as most of you know, if you follow me, I lived for the last 30-ish years in Kansas City, and there are no luxury stores, no luxury boutiques in the Kansas City area. So my only exposure to luxury items was when we traveled. And I remember going into Louis Vuitton for the very first time and just feeling really intimidated, very overwhelmed. I had no idea what the prices were like, none. God knows now, I wish I had bought some of those pieces. I think back at that time, I remember looking at the Neverfull, and I think it was like $700 or something, and I just thought that was crazy money. And so I bought this wallet. So this is the original Sarah wallet, and I carried this for years. And I have to say, it's held up really well. I mean, it's funny, you don't really notice wear and tear on your items when you're using them. It was only when I started getting more items in my collection that I was like, oh gosh, there really is a lot in here. So I actually have the original thing in here. So you're not gonna be able to read it because it'll be backwards, but this was $550 when I purchased it. As you can see, it was the old, the old dust bag. It came in the brown box. I still have even the material or whatever card and the SKU that's on it. And yeah, just another piece of, so I keep it nicely, stored. But, I'm looking at it now, and as you can see, there's fraying here. And I'm sure if I thought that my items wore so well, but look at the glazing that's missing there. It's missing on that side too. I did take it into Louis Vuitton because I thought about giving it to my oldest daughter. And oh gosh, now I'm looking like I'm seeing even more. There's all sorts of glazing missing, I'm sure, on that corner too. But anyway, I took it into Louis Vuitton to see about getting it re-glazed, and it was gonna be like $200 or something. And I was like, that's more than the wallet's even worth. So yeah, I decided not to do that. And we'll see, maybe one day I'll take it in and have it done, but I don't ever foresee using a big wallet again. And honestly, I don't think that she uses big wallets. So she honestly probably wouldn't be interested in it. So yeah, that was my very first item, and it is still in my collection. I had 2 questions from Dale at Dale's Addiction. Anybody that has a channel that I mention, I will link their channels down below, so please check them out down there. And Dale asked what my favorite luxury brand is and why, and then to tell us about living in New York City, probably a separate video. And I actually had quite a few questions surrounding, like, why did we move to New York City? What is life like in New York City? What's different about being in New York City? All those kind of questions. And I think probably I will do a separate video on it. I had somebody ask what it's like now to basically have access to all of these brands when I had none before. So yeah, I just think, like I said, there's a whole realm of questions around the whole New York City thing. So I will do a separate video on that. But Dale's other question, which was my favorite luxury brand and why. So it would not be a surprise to anybody if my answer was Fendi. And I have really always liked Fendi's designs. I bought my very first peekaboo, which was this one, in, I want to say, I believe October of 2021. I kicked myself that I did not purchase this when we were in Europe in September of 2021. We went to the Fendi boutique in Monaco, I believe, and I tried on all sorts of different peekaboos, loved them, but I was just, it was like the very end of our trip and I wasn't sure, and we were going to be stopping in New York on the way back, and I knew I wanted to go buy some things at Cartier there. I wasn't 100% sure I was ready to pull the trigger. Well, yeah, should have pulled the trigger because it was way less expensive there, and this was, you know, pre a couple price increases. But I really loved this one. This one was definitely influenced by Melinda at Luxe Purse Love. I believe she has the exact same one. And the reason why I love this one in particular is because it has feet. So this is the mini peekaboo in the sort of off-white cream color. It has the outside sort of glazing on it. And yeah, I love it. So it really ignited my love of the brand. And, you know, as you know, I have purchased many, many things since, and I've purchased from other parts of the brand. So I've purchased shoes, I've purchased ready to wear, I've purchased small leather goods. So I've really kind of expanded what I enjoy with the brand. And I think their designs are unique. I like the fact that they don't come out with something every 2 seconds like some of the other brands do. I love it. I love their customer service is second to none. As you know, I rave and will continue to rave about my sales associate, Brandon, in Chicago. He is a doll and I absolutely adore him. And I've never met the man in person, never. And he is just fantastic. So I cannot sing the praises of Fendi enough for both their designs and, you know, their customer service. And when those two things combine, it just makes it an amazing place to shop. Susan Clark asks, when did you start your handbag collection and what is your favorite SLG? So the first thing I purchased, like you saw, was that wallet, but my first handbag that I purchased was actually the Retiro. And I'll pop a picture up here because I do not have this in my collection still. I wore that bag to death. Like when I sold that, again, sort of like the wallet, you don't really realize the wear that you have on the bag. And also back then, there weren't as many like luxury YouTubers, and I wasn't really following luxury YouTubers. I didn't know about Vachetta. I didn't know that you needed to like be careful. The sales associate certainly never mentioned it to me. So there were like water stains all over that bag, you know, where the Vachetta was. There was Vachetta like on the corners, and then obviously the handles, and those handles were like I've seen some really, really dark handles, especially on like some vintage Speedies, but they were pretty dark. But I loved that bag. It had a strap that you could attach to it. So it had, you know, 2 top handles, sort of like the Speedy, and then it had a shoulder strap. It definitely wasn't a crossbody strap, but it was a shoulder strap and it was wider. It had, if I remember correctly, like a wider part maybe in the middle. So it was super comfortable to carry on the shoulder, and it carried everything in the kitchen sink. It's probably the similar in size to, I would say, the Speedy 25, probably around there. So it was just a great all-around bag, and like I said, I loved it to death. And so that's how I started my handbag collection. And the second part of that question is, what is your favorite SLG? And I have to say, I think it's my mini pochette. Now, I'm actually not even using this right now. I'm using the one that I got from Dress Up Your Purse. I do have a discount code down below. It's not affiliate. I don't make any money. It's just a way for you to save money. So if you're interested, but I ordered the sort of rose poupre-esque color in the mini pochette style. And I've been using that for the past, whatever, couple months, something like that. It's ever so slightly bigger than this, but functions exactly the same. But I love this. I bought this, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago. I probably, if I could, had eyes that could actually see that date code in there, I would let you know. But I do remember where I bought it. I actually bought it at the Louis Vuitton inside Bloomingdale's here in New York. So yeah, I don't know why I purchased it at that particular location. You know, we were obviously on a trip to New York, but it's a workhorse. It really is. I've never carried it as a little wristlet or anything like that. You know, I do have some chains I guess I could throw on here if I wanted to, but I love it as a catch-all. It just really, it's kind of a toss-up for me between my 6-ring key holder and this, but I think now, because I don't really carry that many keys, that one has kind of maybe taken a little of a back seat. I will never get rid of that. I mean, I adore that SLG. But I think as my favorite, I think it's probably this mini pochette. Ada Lawler, I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It asks, what is your outside of YouTube job? So I am an attorney by trade. I practiced law for about a year in a firm in Kansas City for about a year after getting out of law school, and I hated it. I hated billing hours. I hated, you know, having to decide, like, did I talk to that client for 6 minutes or 12 minutes, I just did not like anything about it. So I'm one of those weird people who actually enjoyed law school, but I just did not enjoy the practice of law. So after leaving the law firm, I have basically spent the majority of my career negotiating contracts in a corporate setting. So I worked in telecom for probably the majority of my career. I did take some time off, about 11, 12 years or so, when my children were younger and stayed at home. I did some like consulting gigs kind of here and there that I was able to do from home during that time. But as far as like full-time work, like I said, I kind of took a hiatus in raising my children. But my full-time work has always been in contract negotiation. So I am now in the healthcare sector. So I negotiate contracts on behalf of hospitals around the country. And so, yeah, so it's a nice way to use my law degree and, you know, feel like it's not going to waste, because like I said, I review and negotiate contracts all day long, but I don't have that pressure or that horrible feeling of, like I said, billing hours and watching the clock and you know, being a rainmaker and, you know, bringing in new clients and things like that, especially as a, you know, 25-year-old or whatever. It's a little intimidating to do, or at least it was for me, especially because I wasn't from Kansas City. I didn't really know anybody outside of like my husband and my husband's family. So anyway, but yeah, so that's what I do. I am an attorney, but like I said, I don't practice in the sort of literal or sort of normal sense of the word. So I don't work in a firm, but yeah, that's what I do. So next question from YouTube is from Lux Petite, and that is Jamie, and I will definitely make sure I link her channel below. And Jamie says, love your channel. Thanks, Jamie. I love yours too. And she asks, how did you meet your husband? So My husband would probably prefer to tell this story because I don't think he thinks that I tell the whole story. But I was a first year in law school and he was a senior. And I had a bunch of roommates, but we were like split up into 2 different apartments. But anyway, he and his roommate lived down on the other like wing of the apartment building that we lived in on the same floor. And some of my roommates knew his roommate. And his roommate kind of had a crush on one of my roommates anyway. But for some reason, his roommate was under the impression that, my husband's name is David, that David was looking for a girlfriend. In actuality, he had a girlfriend back in Kansas City, although they agreed that they could like see other people because they were long distance during school. So we all like traipsed down to David and his roommate's apartment with the idea that we were going to sort of set up one of my roommates with David. Like, I think for some reason that his roommate thought that David and one of my roommates would like hit it off. So we went down there and David didn't really end up talking to this other roommate of mine, and he and I just started chatting. I think I was in law school. He was actually thinking of going to law school. He, I think, had just taken the LSAT and was maybe in the application process or something. He ended up not going to law school, by the way. He ended up getting a couple of master's degrees. But yeah, so that's how we met, was, like I said, through kind of our mutual friends. Now, this part of the story that he would say that I'm not telling you is that supposedly we did meet the year before. So we both lived in this apartment building in our apartments the year before. And at that time I lived with a different roommate. And apparently he and I, the way he tells the story, this is alleged, okay, because I have no recollection of this happening. But apparently we were both like at the elevator at the same time, and we got in the elevator and he asked like what I was doing that weekend. And apparently I took that as maybe he was like hitting on me or something. And so I made some comment. My reply was something like, oh, I'm going out with my boyfriend or whatever. So yeah, that's how he would say we met, but that's not really how I say we met. We met when his roommate tried to set up my roommate with David, and then we ended up being together. So yeah, so we have been together we've been married for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary in November, and we got married 3 years after we started dating, basically. So yeah, we've known each other for a long time. Is from Jennifer Grace, and this was on Instagram. I'm not sure if she meant on Instagram or if she means YouTube when she asked this question. But the question is, what is essential if you are going to post consistently? So I'm definitely not the person to ask about posting on Instagram consistently, because I don't. And I would like to be better about it. I think part of my issue with Instagram is like, and it's actually one of my goals this year, I might go through kind of my goal setting process and telling you what some of my goals are. Maybe I'll do a video on that. We'll see. If you're interested, let me know. Drop a comment below. But because I don't work outside of the house, I work remotely. A lot of times I don't necessarily like get dressed, like at least dressed to the point that I want to share it with you guys. I mean, maybe that's the point of an outfit of the day though, right? Is to like show real life and show, you know what, sometimes I'm just in sweats and a hoodie, you know, but I guess I just feel like I need to be like glam, and which really isn't correct. But my point is that I'm not sure I can speak to how to be consistent on Instagram because I'm not. When it comes to YouTube, I think I am pretty consistent. I've actually upped my video output. So I was doing 2 times per week, and then we got to vlog a day, and obviously I posted every day for those 25 days, and I really enjoyed that, although it's a lot of work, especially when you have to like, you know, film and then edit a video all in the same day so that it can be uploaded. But I did really enjoy it, and I loved that Hannah wanted to participate with me too, so that was fun. But you really just have to set aside time, and my family knows that this is really important to me. They know that, this is, it's a hobby for me, but I used to have hobbies that were really important to me, and those have kind of gone by the wayside. I used to scrapbook, and then I used to be really into planning, and I didn't really have a creative outlet. And also being back in Kansas City, I didn't have anybody really in my life who enjoyed luxury items. So this to me was a way to have a creative outlet, to have a hobby, and to have somebody like you guys that I can talk to about this and, have conversations in the comment section below and on Instagram DMs, etc. And so they know it's really important to me, which is great because they do allow me the time to make videos. A lot of times I'm editing, at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. And so I may not be able to watch that show with David that he wants to watch, but they've been very kind in accommodating my time. And I would just say you just have to block out time. You just have to look at your day and say, okay, I don't have anything going on between 5 and 7. And so that is my YouTube time. And, schedule what you're going to do. Are you going to be filming that day? Are you going to be editing that day? Are you going to be, writing your description box and doing links? Like what is, or kind of admin work as people would call it. So look at your week coming up, decide, if you post videos, let's say it's once a week on Wednesdays. Okay, well, what do you need to do to make that happen? And just really focus on that. There are some great Notion templates out there. If you use Notion to, have sort of an upload schedule in different parts of social media, there are great platforms that you can use to help manage your social media accounts and sort of help schedule and keep track and things like that. I know one is called Metricool. I'm trying to think of some of the others, but there are others that you can investigate. But I think you just sort of like anything in life, whether it's, any goal that you have to have like defined steps to get there and have a plan to put those particular steps in place. I don't know if that was very helpful, but hopefully that answers your question. So going back over to YouTube and kind of staying with that YouTube theme, Gwenny by Style by Gwenny, I will have her channel linked below as well, asks a couple questions. Now that you're 6 months in, how did your YouTube creator expectations compare to your YouTube creator reality? And the next question is, what non-luxe handbag channels do you enjoy watching? So we'll tackle the YouTube one first since it sort of dovetails off the last question. How does my reality compare to my expectation? I don't know that I had really high expectations when I started. I really, like I said, just wanted an outlet. I do remember the very first and only, I think the only video that I posted that was like a premiere, which, so for those of you who don't know, as a creator, you can schedule videos to be like a premiere so that you are like watching kind of with the people, so, and people can chat, so you sort of can chat live, I guess is the idea. But the concept is that you're like all kind of watching it together. Now, obviously you can watch it at any time in the future and make comments in the future, but the idea is that it's like a premiere of a movie, right? You just all go and you're watching it. And I remember saying to David when I was doing that was, if just one person watches during the premiere, I will consider it a success. And I think I had 3 people at one time. Like I had 1 and then I had 2 and then 1. Anyway, like somewhere between like 2 and 3 people at one time. And I was like over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I was like so excited. But yeah, I like I said, I had pretty low expectations. I think like most people, I had no idea the amount of work that goes into it. Even though I'd watched lots of videos on, starting a YouTube channel and what you should know when you start a YouTube channel and what are the 5 things I learned from starting a YouTube channel or what I would do differently if I started my YouTube channel over again. all those videos you watch, but until you do it, you really don't realize the amount of work that goes into a, 15, 20-minute video, whatever the length of time it is. So yeah, I've gotten a lot better at editing, meaning it takes me a lot less time. So I can, depending on the type of video, I can usually turn it pretty quickly. But yeah, it's a lot of work. Thankfully, I really, I haven't had any trolls. I haven't had any like super negative comments. So I'm happy that at least at the moment I have a really, really wonderful set of subscribers and people who interact on a, every video basis. And I learn a ton from you all. So I appreciate all of you who have subscribed and watch and comment. All right, so the second part of Gwenny's question was about non-luxury YouTube channels that I watch. And so I grabbed my iPad because I just wanted to kind of remind myself. I follow some like kind of mindful spending, those kind of channels. So Hannah Louise Poston, who is phenomenal. She did a whole no-buy year that she documented. This was several years ago. She chronicled the whole thing, and then she did some different budgeting things, subsequent years, etc. But she does mostly makeup review, and that's kind of what her channel was, or her no-buy was about, was, as she likes to call it, beautiful things. So she did that, and she's phenomenal. The way she speaks so intelligently. It rolls off her tongue. And she did this great video where she did the whole video in iambic pentameter. So she's actually a poet. That's what her, I think, graduate degree is in. Anyway, it was amazing. I also watch Angie from Hot and Flashy. I think I've referenced her before. She's great, especially if you are, over the age of 40 and want to know great tips about skincare and taking care of yourself as you age through the years. She looks fantastic. She's 60 plus, I think, and you would never know it. Angie looks amazing. I also follow, sort of in that same vein, I guess, is Marnie from Miss Gold Girl. I found her actually, I think, when I was looking for tips on the Nordstrom anniversary sale, something like that. This is years and years ago is when I discovered her. I think she was actually the very first influencer creator to ever do an anniversary sale video series. And now, of course, every influencer and their mother does a Nordstrom anniversary sale video. But that's how I found Marnie. And she is also, I think she's turning 50 this year. And so again, she does styling videos for more of a middle of your life type of wardrobe and what you do in your life. She lives in the San Antonio area, so I really like her, and she's also Jewish. So one of the very few other, I think, Jewish YouTubers out there. Oh, I follow Molly May. We love Love Island, and we adored Molly and Tommy's season, so I follow her, and they just had a baby, and it's so cute. It's the cutest thing ever. I follow a couple makeup channels still. I follow Makeup by Tiffany D, although she does some luxury content as well. Emily Noel, again, probably the last one I'll throw out there. Emily is OG makeup YouTuber. I think Emily has probably been on YouTube for 13, 14 years, something like that. She's fantastic. So yeah, so there are some non-luxury YouTubers that I follow. Back to Instagram, I think I already kind of answered this question, but Lindsay Hopkins 1 asks, what was your first luxury bag you bought? And I already mentioned that. It was the Retiro. And then Susan 0801 asks, why did you move from Kansas to New York? Like I said, I'll do a whole video on that. Mo Bags Please, that's a really cute handle. What is your favorite handbag in your collection, and what's the bag you want most to add to it? So again, I think it will be absolutely no surprise to those of you who watch my channel that this is my absolute favorite bag in my collection, at least at the moment. If you did not see that unboxing, I will link it up above. It is a hoot. was also collaboration with Dale because we both ended up getting this bag, and this is just, it's just everything. It is everything. It is squishy, and it is, so I don't want to get makeup on it, and it's soft, and it's textural, and it just, every time I wear it, I get a compliment on it, but that's not why I wear it. It just, I love it. It just literally makes my heart sing every single time I look at it. So this would definitely be my favorite bag at the moment. I'm sure it will change. My favorites change from time to time, but at the moment, this is the one that makes my heart sing the most. What is the bag I want to add to my collection? That's hard, Mo bag. Oh, there are a few. I'll give you my top three. The first would be that absolutely stunning blush Fendi First in Fox that I just saw recently when I went to Fendi to go pick up my ready-to-wear piece. Oh, that has my heart too. Again, it's the texture, it's the soft. I did a whole video on, not a whole video, but it was one thing in the video that I talked about, like why things I wouldn't buy, and one of them was the Fendi First. But I said in that video that was like one of the things where it killed me to say it. But now that I'm in New York, I am rethinking the Fendi First. I think there might be a use case for the Fendi First in New York, but I love that bag. The second would be a Loewe puzzle bag. I'm not really sure on which color, but that one is probably number 2. Number 3, let's just go with those two. I think we'll just go with those two. The Fendi First in blush Fox and a Loewe puzzle bag. Those are the two that are sort of very, very high up on my radar for this year. All right, the last one from Instagram is what makes you happy? And that was from Roz Zika. And what makes me happy? My kids. I mean, hands down, no question, no close second. I mean, anything else is like as far behind as you can imagine. What makes me happy are my kids. And if I talk too much about it, I will cry because they are absolutely my pride and joy. Each one of them have, unique characteristics about them that make them special. But I would say from a generalization standpoint, something that they all have are absolutely enormous hearts. They are good people to the core. And that is something that both my husband and I are extremely, extremely proud of. All right, Connor from the closet, again, his channel will be linked below. Hey, Connor asks, what do you look for when purchasing luxury? Does it need to suit a specific purpose or just whatever you're drawn to? In general, I would say it is just what I am drawn to. Now, I've realized through doing some recent videos that I do have a hole in my collection, so I will probably try to fill that hole. But other than that, it's just what I love, honest to God. That's why I don't really, like I said, why I struggled with wish lists, because there aren't really, I mean, yes, there's some styles like the Loewe puzzle bag, for example, that have been like something that I have been looking at for the last several years that I really like and that I just needed to probably explore more, or I just had other things that I wanted to buy first. But other than that, it's really just walking into the boutique or seeing a video of somebody revealing a bag or seeing one of the fashion show, one of the runways, and just seeing a piece and being like, oh, that is just gorgeous. I mean, and it's really, I think, a feeling. And honestly, I hope for all of you that are watching this, that is why you buy luxury. I hope it's not to really fill a purpose, because honestly, you could buy a bag at Zara or H&M or, Kmart or Walmart or Target to suit a purpose, right? There's no need for these luxury bags to serve a purpose, it should just be because you love it, that you just look at it and it brings a smile to your face and you just love everything about it. So thanks, Connor. Yeah, that's why I buy bags. All right, Nora Helmer 023 says, I'm a new subscriber who came around right when you were referencing your move. So maybe you've talked about this, but what inspired you and your family to move to New York City? So as I said, I will address this in a separate video. The bottom line is because we wanted to, but there's more to it than that. So stay tuned for that video. I'll try to film that sometime soon so I can get it up, but I'll address all the various questions that I've gotten either through this or just people reaching out and, you know, through comments and things and asking me about the move. So, and I think this is our last one, also from Nora. So she had a second question. Is there a specific color of handbag, regardless of brand, that you want to seek out in 2023? If so, is that because you love the color so much and want it, or because you don't have that color in your collection? So I would say, actually, I am. Normally, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like one of those, like, oh, I really need this color, I don't need this color. But I ended up selling my Taupe Evelyn PM. And it just, I wasn't carrying it. I think it was a little bit big. I really, really wish, you know, I know no one from Hermes is watching this video, but if for some reason you are, I know I've heard this from other people, please come out with a size in between the TPM and the PM. It would sell like gangbusters. Everybody wants it, so just make it. Anyway, I digress. But I sold that bag and I really, really like that color. And I don't really have anything like it. So I have, you know, the gray Kelly, which is really very true gray. And I have black, and I have cream, like I showed in the peekaboo, and I have gold from Hermes. I have the Evelyn TPM in that color, but I really don't have anything in that sort of taupey gray color. So a taupe is really a color that I'm interested in. It doesn't have to be from Hermes. I tried on basically that same color in a Loewe puzzle bag, video to come in an upcoming vlog, and I really, really liked it. So I think that that's probably the color that I want to add. I really would love also to add some like pops of color to my wardrobe. I really have, when I think about it, mostly neutrals. And so I would like to add, I love color. I mean, you can see I'm wearing this, you know, sort of royal purple sweater. So I really like color, and I think that pops of color in your handbags are really easy to incorporate into your wardrobe, especially if you wear a neutral wardrobe. Any color, bright color or any color is going to go with it. So I would probably like to add like a bright pink. I actually have my eye on a mini baguette that has been on eBay that I've been kind of stalking. So looking at that, we'll see. But yeah, I would like to add some other colors, but probably like a true, like feeling like maybe I kind of have a void would be sort of that taupey taupe color from Hermes. Well, that does it for your questions. Hopefully you enjoyed my answers. And I just wanted to thank you all for submitting your questions, having an interest in me and my life and my opinions or what I think. And also a huge, huge thank you to all of you who have subscribed and helped me get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. I am thrilled beyond belief. And I will have an unboxing coming up to sort of commemorate that milestone. So now that we've done that, you know, we have to pick a new goal. We're moving on. So I have those, like I said, goals kind of set in my planner, and happy to share those if anybody wants to know. But just again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to me, and it even more so your comments below and DMs on Instagram. I truly enjoy. I love interacting with all of you because like I said, I don't have anybody in my life to talk about these things with. So you all are my friends that I can share these things with. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so by clicking the subscribe button down below and the notification bell. And wherever you are, I hope you are having an amazing day or evening, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.